In this module, we're going to dive into the importance of having standardized naming systems for all of your campaigns and ad groups. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to create your own campaign naming system for your accounts and have a completely custom spreadsheet with your specific naming conventions ready to go. You'll then be able to use this template to rename old and existing campaigns to fit your new standardization, or prepare new campaign names for bulk campaign launches. By implementing the processes and systems we'll be discussing in this lesson, you'll be able to quickly name hundreds or even thousands of campaigns in a matter of minutes. No more sifting through campaigns individually, manually creating each one in the console. No more haphazardly naming your campaigns without any sort of consistency. That's a quick route to a disorganized and confusing account. Regardless of your expertise as an ad manager, no one appreciates a messy account. Picture this. Imagine the boost in your workflow if you could discern the content of every single campaign without even having to open it. Imagine the time saved if a single line tells you everything you need to know about a campaign, the products it promotes, the keywords or targets it contains, its purpose and its goals, whether it's a research or a profitability campaign, what type of match types you used, and what's the target ACoS. With standardized campaign names, all these questions can be answered without having to dive into each individual campaign. This level of granularity not only offers deeper insights and flexibility, but also provides you with the context for the performance that you're getting. This is essential for understanding your campaign data. If you see a campaign with a low ACoS labeled as brand, you instantly gain context to that performance. Conversely, a competitor targeting keyword campaign might justify a higher ACoS or a lower conversion rate. Proper campaign naming can also enhance your reporting capabilities. With standardized names, downloading and filtering a campaign report from the Amazon UI becomes super straightforward and gives you all kinds of tools at your disposal. Consider this. If a client asks you about the performance of a specific product category and its monthly expenditure, your response and process for solving this and answering this question is likely influenced by your campaign naming and structure. This might entail pulling several reports, merging them in Excel, and then spending 5 to 10 minutes working on all the necessary things to make the data presentable. However, with systematic campaign naming that includes category tags, answering these kind of queries can be 100 times faster. By just entering the category name in the search bar of the ad console, you get all the relevant information that you need. You get all that campaign data. You can then go back to the client and answer their question about how much they're spending on this product category every single month. Precision and clarity from proper campaign naming allow for sharper identification of campaigns that are meeting or falling short of KPIs. Without this clarity, troubleshooting performance and implementing targeted optimizations can become a little bit cumbersome. For instance, comparing non-brand and branded targeting performance becomes seamless with systematic naming. By following our discussions on keyword negations in another lesson and the contents of this lesson, your searches in the ad console will readily differentiate between brand, non-brand, and competitor targeting. This meticulous approach to naming and structuring campaigns simplifies segmenting your ad data. Instead of categorizing metrics by search terms, we can aggregate all of the data within each campaign up to the campaign level. Proper naming conventions are paramount for three main things, which include, but aren't really limited to, reporting, account organization, and efficient campaign management. By consistently naming the items within your ad account, you ensure campaigns remain organized and intuitive. This helps facilitate quicker client response times and provides essential insights for performance-based tweaks. Consistent naming conventions aid in tracking which campaigns, products, ad types, targeting methods, and categories are progressing or need refinement. So where should you begin with standardized naming conventions? Each account will differ based on its structure, product types, and categories. However, there are some foundational elements that should be integral to any campaign naming convention. Here are some of our essential inclusions for our campaign names. Product category, ASIN, ad type, tactic, like brand or non-brand, targeting type. Are we running manual or auto or keyword or product targeting or audience targeting campaigns? What types of match types are we using? What's the target ACoS of the campaign? And what's the campaign goal? Is it a research campaign or is it a performance campaign? Those are the types of things that we like to include in all of our campaign names that give us the insights that we need to extract the value and the data that we provide for our clients. This list isn't exhaustive, but it's an excellent starting point when devising your own campaign naming conventions. To illustrate this, we've prepared a template to help you guide your journey. You'll find access to this template somewhere around this lesson. But for now, we're going to dive in and explore that a little bit, and I'm going to show you how it works. Okay, now that you have a really strong foundation and you understand campaign naming, we've talked about campaign structure, let's dive in and break down all the possible campaign structures that you could utilize on Amazon. Now, there are a ton of different campaign structures like we talked about. A lot of people have a lot of opinions about which ones are best and which ones drive the best performance, but that's not what we're here to do. We're here to show you the structures so that you know what you can do and then can take what we teach you and decide for yourself which setup is going to be most effective for your specific account, because it'll vary. Not every campaign structure needs to be a single product, single keyword campaign, like some people will tell you. We can have some fluidity in our campaign structure. We don't have to be married to one specific structure throughout the entirety of our account. We can leverage different structures for different purposes. And that's what this video is about. That's what this lesson's for. It's to show you which of those campaign structures you should use in certain scenarios. So to start out, let's first break down what are the possible campaign structures that you could use. So the first and probably one of the most common campaign structures that I see whenever doing accounts, it's widely utilized by a lot of advertisers. It's called multiple product ad groups or mixed product ad groups. Now, we like to give acronyms to everything here in Amazon PPC. So we call this MPAGs, multiple product ad groups or mixed product ad groups. Now, mixed product ad groups have a lot of benefits. Some of those would be ease of management. Number one, if all of your products and all of your keywords, everything are grouped up, aggregated into single ad groups or campaigns, it's a lot easier to manipulate performance. It's a lot easier to see what's working, what's not. It's easier to manage. It's not necessarily more effective. It's just easier for the person managing it because they have less to look at. There's less detail, less organization to have to really sift through and dig through. So it's just simpler. And that's why I think a lot of people tend to default to this. Another benefit is that with multiple product ad groups, what we've seen is that sometimes if you have these campaigns running, like I've had campaigns running for like 2 years at a time, and they're multiple product ad groups and they just deliver great performance. And so I don't pause them. But the best thing about multiple product ad groups that I've seen anyway is that you can get really cheap clicks. Amazon's algorithm is very good at pairing your products with potential queries where the product's likely to convert. It's very good at it. They've made a lot of money because of it. Multiple product ad groups allow for that algorithmic benefit. You see it a little bit more in these more aggregated campaign structures. But let's dive in a little bit deeper. So let's break down the structure of what this would actually look like in real time. So multiple product ad groups. Let's look at this like a flow chart. So we'll start with this box here. We'll call this our campaign. Within that campaign, as you know, we have ad groups. And for this multiple product ad groups, we'll just have one ad group, AG1. So this is ad group 1. And since there's multiple products in this ad group, you can probably guess that we're going to break this out. And inside of that one ad group, you might have 3 different products. Now, these are probably going to be pretty similar products, if I had to guess. But if they're not, then this whole structure is not going to be super effective. If they're more similar, you might have a little bit more crossover and better performance if your products are kind of more specified and grouped around specific keywords. But ultimately, this structure really limits your ability to get specific in your targeting. So what I mean by that is if we were to break this down one layer deeper, inside your ad group, we have our products. We also have keywords. So inside multiple product ad group, these 3 products are all targeting a list of keywords. The keywords inside of this ad group, every single one of these products is eligible to show up on these. Now, these also have the same exact bids. So let's say product 1 performs really, really good on this first keyword and product 2 doesn't. you would not be able to go in and decrease the bid and have it only impact product number 2. If you went in to decrease that bid, it's going to impact all the products and all the placements inside of that campaign. So you don't have that flexibility. You don't have that control where you can manipulate the placement and the bid and the aggressiveness of one product on a particular keyword. You have to make more broad stroke adjustments. You have to make smaller changes that have a much bigger impact across a wider array of search terms and products. So multiple product ad groups are great, but they certainly have their limitations. They're not necessarily the best product structure or the best campaign structure for getting you to the next level, for scaling your ad account and really dialing in your bids so you can hit your target ACoS. They're good, but we can do better. So let's dive into the next campaign structure, which, like I mentioned before, is the campaign structure that we use. This is deployed across all of our accounts. It's foundational for Amazon advertisers to understand this campaign structure because it has so many benefits. And going from multiple product ad groups to single product ad groups is going to be the biggest jump and the biggest change that you're going to see in performance. When you go from, single product ad groups down to single product campaigns or single keyword campaigns, the shift in control and performance and just the level of granularity that you have, that's where you see that biggest shift is when you go from multiple product ad groups, you take this course, you learn all this stuff, and you go back and you start to launch new campaigns with single product ad groups. You're going to see much better performance. You're going to have much more clarity and control over which products are bidding on which keywords, how much. You're going to be able to control that aggressiveness, or, you can pull the reins back whenever you need to. So, that's where you're going to see that big benefit. But let's see what a single product ad group would look like. So we have our SPAGs. Just like multiple product ad groups, we'll have our campaign. Only this time, instead of just having this one ad group that has all 3 of our products in it, we're going to use single product ad groups, which means this campaign, instead of just having that one ad group in it, it's now going to have 3. So within that campaign, it's broken down to 3 ad groups. Inside of each of these ad groups, there's only going to be one product, single product ad groups. Makes sense, right? So inside that ad group, we've got product 1, product 2, and product 3. Now, this is where it really gets good because unlike multiple product ad groups where every single one of these products is targeting the same list of keywords, in a single product ad group, every single one of these products gets their own list of keywords, gets their own bids. Okay? So maybe there's some crossover here because you have, similar products. So maybe product 1 and product 2 are both targeting the same thing. Maybe you're selling tennis rackets and they're both targeting tennis racket. One of them's black, one of them's blue. Let's say product 1 has a 20% conversion rate and product 2 has a 10% conversion rate on that term. You're going to be able to manipulate the bids based on that data that you're receiving back from your campaign on that specific product keyword relationship. So in the scenario, you'd be able to increase the bids on product 1 for tennis racket target because you're trying to expand and maximize sales. So you can increase that bid, be more aggressive, win, higher value, higher converting placements. Whereas product 2, which has a much lower conversion rate, can't afford to bid that aggressively, can't afford to win those top of search placements because, you're not converting high enough. You're not converting fast enough or at a high enough rate to justify that level of spend. So we have to dial the bids back on that product a little bit. So that way we can hit our target ACoS, which we'll get into in another video. But that is single product ad groups. This is, like I said, where you're going to see the biggest benefit, jumping from multiple product ad groups to single product ad groups. And you can see why. So this allows you to get much more specific. This is much more vague and aggregated. So that's really the biggest thing there. So anything else is more of just like an extension of single product ad groups. It's kind of the same principles, but just breaking it down a little bit further. So the next layer of this would be looking at single product campaigns. So this is our third campaign structure. Now, single product campaigns, just like it sounds, it's a single product in a single campaign. So unlike SPAGs, we would have our campaign. It's a single product campaign, but we still want to leverage what we know about targeting, about everything here to take that information, take that same concept and apply it here within single product campaigns. So within the campaign, we're only going to have one ad group because there's only going to be one product in there. So we have this one product inside this one ad group, and then that one product has its own list of keywords. Now you might be like, what's the benefit to that? Like, why would I do that? That just means I have way more campaigns now. Instead of one campaign, I now have 3. And I got to control the bids and control the placements and do all the optimizations on 3 campaigns instead of 1. Now, you might be right. Like, it definitely does add a little bit more work as you continue going up the chain. You're going to have more data to look at. You're going to have more, data to aggregate and try to sift through and make optimizations on. So as you get more and more granular, the complexity of your account definitely does increase, and your skill of management has to increase with that level of complexity. And so this is why we don't recommend jumping straight into like single product campaigns or single keyword or single keyword campaigns, because if you're not a competent ad manager, then utilizing these types of structures is going to be a nightmare for you. It's going to be chaos. You're going to not know what you're looking at most of the time. It's going to be information overload because there's so much data spread out all over the place. It's going to be a lot harder to look at. So just keep that in mind as you're kind of thinking about these different campaign structures, weighing the trade-offs and the benefits of each to kind of find that happy medium and find that balance for, where you're at on your journey and, what skill level you have. So just important to keep in mind. Now, the next layer, single product campaigns are great. There's not a whole lot of benefit that you get going from here to here outside of 2 things that I can think of off the top of my head. The ability to control your budgets at the product level and the ability to control your placements at the campaign level for a specific product. We'll get into single keyword campaigns in a second. I almost wanted to go there for a second and dive into it, but we won't do that. We'll stick to single product campaigns for a second. So let's talk about the differences. So budget controls, first thing. So you do have budget controls on all of these structures, right? Like you can set your campaign budget, your budget, it's not going to exceed that daily budget, over a period of time. So you can still set it. If you have all 3 of these products inside of this one campaign and, they're nowhere else, then, you could theoretically control and cap the spend with the budgets on any of these campaigns. Same here, cap it, make sure it's not spending over a certain amount. And you can do the same thing here. But the only difference is that you can make that budget specific to just one individual product. So let's say you wanted to strategically allocate your budgets or flight your budgets across your products based on, how they're converting, your top sellers, things like that. You could, with single product campaign, have more strategic budgets allocated to one product than you do to another. So it gives you that flexibility. Now, you can definitely do this and control your spend and control your budgets within a single product ad group structure. Only you mostly control it at the bid level. Your campaign budget is more like a guardrail or a safety rail, making sure that you don't exceed certain levels and blow up your spend any given day by increasing your bids too much or something. Within single product ad groups, if you wanted to increase the spend on one product but not on the others, then you would just go into this one ad group that you want to increase the spend on and manipulate the spend on that product through the keyword bids. So if you wanted to increase spend, you might increase your bids on just this one product. And then maybe you open up that budget at the campaign level in order to allow that product to spend more. Now, this campaign is going to kind of naturally favor, a handful of products, and, the most of the spend and everything's going to be delivered to like 20% of your products, and those 20% are going to yield 80% of all the sales and all the results that you're getting. So that's naturally going to kind of happen, that breakdown, that split between spend and products. So that just kind of happens naturally based on the quality of the products. And, if they're top sellers in your total sales, they're probably going to be top deliverers and top sellers in your ad account as well. So you may see that, but you can control the bids to influence how much you're spending on an individual product with single product ad groups. But you do get that extra layer of placement control for a specific product with single product campaigns. So what that means is basically within every campaign, you can go into the placements tab and you can see how your performance varies at top of search, on product pages, and at rest of search. And if you were using single product ad groups and you were to go in and you were to change those placements, that bid multiplier, that bid increase that you put in for your placement settings would now affect all of the keyword bids that are living inside of this campaign. Not just one of the products. You can't pinpoint it to just one product. It has to be all the products within that campaign because those placement settings are set at the campaign level, not the ad group level. So that's one benefit that you get with single product campaigns is you're now able to optimize the placements of that product, where that product converts best in search at the campaign level, and it only impacts this single product. So that's a benefit. If you're more advanced, that might be super appealing and maybe something that you want to dig into a little bit more and, leverage a little bit more. Usually you can squeak out like 99% of the performance that you can get with single product campaigns that you can with single product ad groups. I mean, I think we've tested it plenty of times and really have seen no difference in performance between single product ad groups and single product campaigns. We can get a little bit more dialed in, but honestly, it's not going to move the needle a substantial amount for you just by giving you that capability. But if you're more advanced, maybe it does. So that pretty much breaks down those three structures. The last campaign structure that I want to dig into is called single keyword campaigns. Now we label those as SKW, single keyword. So single keyword campaigns are excellent for ranking. This type of campaign is really the go-to strategy when you have a particular keyword inside of your account. You have a particular keyword in your category that gets a lot of volume, that a lot of searches come through, that when people are looking for a product that you sell or similar to a product that you sell, they're going to type in these terms, okay? These are the terms that you want to get your product ranking on. You want to drive sales velocity through. And so we can utilize single keyword campaigns or a single keyword campaign structure in order to give us that specificity and control, like we've been talking about with campaign structure. This is just a big spectrum, right? We're on a spectrum from broad to focused or aggregated to more segmented. So within single keyword campaigns, it's going to be the exact same structure as your single product campaigns. So you're going to have your ad group, your one product, and then the only difference between single product campaigns and single keyword campaigns is that instead of having a full list of keywords where you're targeting multiple different targets, you're going to have one. Okay? Now, that keyword and how you select that keyword is a topic for another discussion. We'll get into that. But for now, it's just important that you kind of know these structures and what they are, how it kind of maps out, what this looks like. You got to be able to visualize it and see, exactly how this breakout would work to fully understand it. But single keyword campaigns are great for ranking. So if there's a particular target that you want to grow sales on, you want to improve rank on, you can break it out into a single keyword campaign like this, where you have ultimate control. You can control the placements, you can control the budgets at the product level, you can control the bids for this specific product to keyword relationship. You have even more control with placements now, or even more specificity with your placement controls, because you now know that any placement change that you make within this single keyword campaign is only going to impact this product on this keyword. So any metrics inside that campaign are going to be hyper specific to this relationship between this product and this keyword. And that's the kind of focus that you need sometimes with ranking. Now, similarly with single product campaigns, you have that placement ability. You can adjust those placements to optimize for your, top converting placements like top of search. Usually, the only difference between these two is that this one's targeting 1, this one's targeting 3. And when you change the placement settings on single product campaigns, it's going to affect all the targets inside this. So, you're going to have to adjust your bids according to what that placement modification is. And we'll teach you how to do that also in another lesson. But for now, it's important to just understand this. Any placement changes that you make in single keyword campaigns are only going to be focused on this one keyword's performance. So you're going to be able to really dial in and figure out how your product performs on an individual keyword. And then from there, you can, continue to expand and try to grow rank and optimize those placements even further. But, sounds great. Like, why would I just not use all single keyword campaigns? Because, it's the most focused, it gives me the most control, most granularity, it just seems like the best, right? Well, it comes with trade-offs. You certainly want to leverage these campaign types where you can and where you need to, but the biggest thing with single keywords is that it creates massive file sizes. So whenever you pull a bulk sheet, if you had solely single keyword campaigns or single product campaigns with a bunch of single keywords, you could have a massive bulk file size, and those are much more difficult to deal with. They freeze your computer up, Excel crashes often, so that's one of the trade-offs that you deal with single keyword campaigns. You also deal with a lot of complexity, like I talked about. You can get caught in the weeds, you can get lost in all of the different campaigns whenever you have a bunch of single keyword campaigns, and just another reason why strong, sound, standardized campaign namings are super important. So anyway, I think that's pretty much it for campaign structure for this. Hopefully you got some value from that and you kind of have a really good understanding of all the different possible campaign structures that you can leverage within Amazon ads, and you kind of know when and where and how to use each one.